Hello and welcome back to the Expat Coaches Hangout. Today, I have the lovely Bianka with me, and you're going to have to say your last name for everyone because I think it's really hard to pronounce. Um,
I will do. It's Olszewska.
Olszewska, okay. I don't know about you, but I have this thing. I'm always afraid that I'm going to mispronounce
Yeah,
somebody's names, so I'll just, Bianka is nice, right?
sure, exactly. First name works.
All right then. So the thought we had behind this, so Bianca is also a coach. She's a coach for introverts. She's also an expat at heart, a repat right now, but really has lived all over the planet. And so I thought it was very fitting to have her here at the Expat Coaches Hangout. And the topic that we had thought about was introversion, because that's exactly what Bianca coaches on. And very often I think your clients are also in the expat
Yeah,
world, right? So they live internationally, they live globally. So I
yeah,
thought it would be a really nice like for us to talk about.
definitely, definitely. I'm super excited to have the conversation with you.
All right, I know that this is hard for you because you also identify as an introvert.
Exactly.
Maybe we can start there. So, what makes you an introvert rather than an extrovert?
I think the biggest difference is how I get energized, right? So when you think about social anxiety, for example, introverts are always doing better in smaller groups, smaller events, where extroverts are energized by big events and, being a star of the event as well. They hang out with everyone. They want to talk to everyone. And introverts, when you kind of observe them during these kind of events, they are always trying to find their like small safe space with one or two people that they can collaborate with. And I think that's the biggest difference for sure.
Would you say that introverts get their energy from being by themselves or being with a few trusted people that they connect with?
I think the biggest energy, I would say, recharge is always happening by themselves, right? So staying at home. So even after going to an event, they need kind of, almost like a hangover, right? So they need to recharge for another day to get that calmness back, I guess, and not being stressed. And they do like social events, but it takes a lot of energy out of them. So I would say that to actually recharge and get that energy back is when you are on your own.
Yeah. And I know that you have a networking event coming up tomorrow, actually, right? So, what would be, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Whether it's in your home culture or in a foreign culture. Let's talk in general. How do you prepare for an event such as this?
Yeah, so my biggest advice is to find a friend who would want to go with you, who maybe shares the same interests. My other project is HR operations, so I'm going to a startup event where there are a lot of people from smaller companies, which are my ideal clients, and I collaborated with one of my friends as well, and she's going. So this is kind of creating that small safe space for me that I can always, find her in the crowds and go back to her and not run away from the event itself. So this is my first step. I always try to find that friend. If it's not possible, but you really want to go to an event, I would basically suggest to prepare flashcards for yourself or prepare conversation topics for yourself and even study them before you go. But you can always take small cheat sheets with you. And, like I have that ebook as well that I shared with you.
Yeah, we should definitely, we'll put that
Yeah,
in the description as well so that
exactly.
people can have
So
access
I
to
think
that.
if you are prepared, it's less stress because you kind of have these questions in your head. Another thing with introverts, we are not really good with chit chat or small chats to start the conversation. So I think this kind of preparation also helps. Like, oh my God, like what do I even ask a random person that I've never seen before?
Yeah, I find that fascinating because at the moment I'm going down this whole rabbit hole of connection,
Yeah,
right? How to form connection. For me, it's always China.
yeah.
So how to network like a local. I have a webinar that's coming up on that very topic. And I think this is not necessarily an introvert versus extrovert thing so much. I think a lot of people feel like networking events are not a very natural place
Yes.
and it's not a very natural situation. But I love this idea. I would never think about studying beforehand of what topics to raise. So I think that is brilliant. Another thing is, do you think that as introverts, you should avoid bigger gatherings altogether and just go down a path where you can curate an environment that's going to make you less stressed?
I think from my own experience, the way I was going into networking, I would say I was starting small. When I'm talking about live events, right, where you go in person, I would start small and get my courage up and basically make myself more confident. But on a flip side, I really like bigger events online because you are kind of not really forced to come up to people. You can either speak or you don't have to. You don't have to unmute yourself. So this is also kind of a small safe space for introverts. So it depends what you prefer. But at the beginning, I would definitely recommend smaller events in person. And if you have like a larger event, try to do it online to see how people behave. There's a mixture of people on this kind of event. So you can see, oh, like this lady or this guy is actually really friendly and engaging. So maybe I will take some notes for my future events and try to kind of mirror this kind of personality as well, right?
There you go again with the research. I love it.
Exactly. You can always learn a lot from other people. And that's another strength from introverts. We are really good observers. We are really good listeners. In my teenage years, my friends were always laughing at me because I was going to parties and I didn't really socialize, but I was sitting and observing people. I really loved it because you can kind of learn body language and behaviors of people. And that gives you a lot of power as well.
Let's face it, extroverts do a lot of stupid things because they don't think about it
Yeah.
beforehand, right? So that's entertainment right there. Like
Yeah.
you just sit and you let them make fools of themselves. And if you add alcohol into the mix, then that's a whole different ballgame.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But on the flip side, extroverts might think that you are not having fun and you are bored, but that's really not true at all. We have fun just looking at people and learning a lot from the situation.
And you mentioned preparation, and you also mentioned that maybe you need to have space in between events so that you can
Yeah.
recharge. What do you do to recharge?
I either stay at home watching Netflix, chat to my friends who really understand my personality as well, and they are not putting a lot of stress or even expectation from me. It's funny because most of my friends are actually extroverts. I like having friends as extroverts because they do all of the talking and I can just listen and not do much. And that gives me a lot of freedom and a lot of peace as well. They don't put a pressure on me to actually talk. They just do all of the work for me. And another one is just going for walks. Nature is very calming. So I would recommend that as well, just to leave the screens at home. Don't sit by your laptop all day, by your phone. Just maybe put some music on, have headphones, and just go for a walk. And I think that is very good for you in general, right? For anyone, not only introverts. But I think switching off in general is something I would recommend definitely after events as well.
Mhm. And how would you say, I mean, this is
Yeah.
the Expat Coaches Hangout, right? So in an expatriation situation, how would you say are things different for you as an introvert? You did mention you have a lot of extrovert friends, right? You've lived in Dublin, you've lived in London, you've lived in Barcelona. So let's think of a person who arrived at the same time with you, strong extrovert versus you, an introvert. How do you think experiences differ?
I think the experience is less stressful for extroverts for sure. I was even speaking with my other friends who just moved to Denmark as well, and she's basically struggling because she's like, oh, I've been here 3 weeks and I haven't met anyone, and I want to expand my friends circle, etc. And I said, like, you've been just there 3 weeks, and definitely this is not on my priority list when I'm moving, to new country to have like a bunch of friends. Actually, when I lived in Barcelona, my last country before I moved back now to Poland, I lived in Barcelona for 4 years, and it took me 2.5 years to actually build that circle of 3 or 4 friends. And the way I did it, which I also recommend to any introvert, is find a fitness group. That's how I did it. Find a fitness group, sign up, not to a gym where you're going alone, but to a fitness group with a coach, for example, where there is like a bunch of people who also want to be, fit and healthy, and just hang out with them. My fitness coach was really good because she was also organizing like dinners once in a while, and that helped us build that community as well. So I definitely recommend it because, again, like if you are going to a fitness group, there is no pressure on you to talk to anyone, right? But you can if you want to. So things like this, find groups with common interests. And the biggest advice I would give to introverts, don't put pressure on yourself to do everything quickly, like that friend I just mentioned. Just give yourself permission to go slow and to just focus on what you are willing to do that day. Maybe just, going out in your neighborhood and going to like a small grocery shop and just say hi to a nice lady behind the counter. So again, small steps. Don't throw yourself into deep waters because that will only kind of hit you back and you will burn out and you will discourage yourself from further interactions as well.
Yeah, agreed. So small goals and stretch yourself because
Yeah.
any interaction in a foreign environment is a stretch, right? And this goes for everyone. This is not introvert or extrovert specific, right? Because the things that you have learned in your past no longer apply because everything is slightly different or very different depending on where you come from, where you're moving. I like the no pressure part. I like the idea of things will develop naturally.
Yeah.
For me, it feels a little counterintuitive to say join a group where there's no possibility to talk.
I wouldn't say no possibility. There is a possibility, but you don't have to. You don't have that pressure.
Okay, so there's
Either,
no societal pressure. Okay,
exactly.
I get it. So if
You're
you
going,
go for a coffee with somebody, they will expect you to introduce
exactly.
yourself, to tell your story, all of
Yeah.
that, right?
So with
Okay.
fitness group, you are going there with purpose of working out, but maybe you will meet people from the same country or with the same interests, and you can slowly build that relationship with them. But I wouldn't say there is no possibility or opportunity, but you have different purpose, and that takes off the pressure from, oh, I have to talk to these people, I have to make friends.
I think that's so smart to shape your environment in a way that takes the pressure off. Because when you have pressure, you freeze even more, right? I mean, this is again for everyone. If we're putting ourselves into an extremely difficult situation, then we're much more likely to mess up than if it's a place where we feel at ease.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay. What else would you say has helped you? I would think one thing that came to my mind was the observation skills are a huge asset.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Like, how have you used the observation skills when it can be Barcelona, it can be Dublin, it can be London, it doesn't really matter.
Networking helped me a lot, and online events that build my confidence by joining different groups. We've been a part of the same group as well. And I really like the observation part when I'm watching you or Naina or other people who are doing podcasts and learning from them how they do it. So that's where I'm bringing my observation skills as well.
I suggest you look at somebody else because I
No,
am just starting out.
don't undervalue yourself, never ever.
But
You are doing great, and that's why I was also excited to join you today.
I am so
know.
thankful because I know this has been a bit of a struggle to
Yeah.
know that we will be on camera. And I find that interesting because you are such an active member of the Expat Women membership and you speak up at every virtual meetup, everything we have. You're always very active and those are all recorded.
Yeah.
So when you talk to me about, oh, I don't know about the recording, this is stressing me out.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll sound weird. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're doing this all day long, all the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are a pro at this.
Yeah. I
So
think that's
why is that different? Why
yeah,
is
I
it
think,
different when we talk
yeah.
rather than when we have one of the other virtual meetups
The
happening?
difference is what we just mentioned earlier. It's that lack of expectation and different purpose where you're going to these events. I think Naina has created a lot of safe space as well, and she didn't put a pressure. You have to participate, you have to be active. I just slowly spoke more and more because I felt more and more confident. And I think the difference is I can either speak or not on these kind of events. But here it's like the expectation that we have to keep the conversation going, etc.
You're in good hands with me. I can talk until the cows come home. Like that's easy. But I think you've done really well because I think when we look at how much time you've been speaking, I think we're both learning here. You're learning to speak more. I'm learning to maybe hold back a little bit. So that's cool.
Exactly. I think I'm getting better and better for sure. The struggle with introverts is that we don't know if we are going to run out of the topic to talk about and how to have that smooth flow of the conversation, because we use less words, but we maybe use stronger words that have stronger meanings. But when you look at extroverts, they will just talk, and whatever is on their mind. But we have to kind of have that space to think about what we want to say. And then again, will people think, oh my God, she doesn't know what to say?
The good thing with that is if you're interacting with extroverts, they're always thinking about the next thing they're going to say. So half the time they don't even listen.
That's why my friends are extroverts.
I love it. What makes you an amazing introvert coach? Like, talk about your approach to coaching with me.
Yeah, so I think being authentic, because I was always going through challenges, whether it was life challenges or work challenges. I have a lot of experience from my own life, and I really do understand introverts. I think that's the strongest coaching skill that I can basically give them back, that I'm not just faking and I'm not just creating a coaching program that I have no idea about and I just want to sell it. I really want to help people because of my struggles. I've been bullied by my bosses as well previously to say like, oh, I will stop inviting you to the meetings because you're not speaking up.
You never speak up. Ugh.
Exactly. And
great leadership right there.
Yeah, that was a trauma basically, right?
Oh, man.
So I had to kind of build that confidence on my own and say, I have a lot of value. I am a great team member, etc. So you cannot let other people squash your wings, I would say. And that's where I come as a coach to say you are a valuable addition to your team. You can also be a great friend, even though you are an introvert and people will want to hang out with you.
Are you kidding me? Introverts, they really see you. They really listen to you. And when they say something, it has meaning, it has substance. If you get a compliment from an introvert, you know that it's felt. Most introverts I know do not feel the need to just fill the silence.
Yeah.
So when they speak out, it's because they have something to say.
Yeah.
Something that they know the world needs to hear. So I think that's one of the values that they bring.
Definitely. So yes, I would love to work with people from different backgrounds, basically, to show them that there is someone who understands them and there is no pressure. And you don't have to change yourself. You don't have to change your personality. You have a lot of strengths that you can use to show that actually not everyone has to speak and be loud, which actually sometimes doesn't really show that you are a great team member if you are just loud. Sometimes it's just easier to focus on the things that you need to deliver. I really do think that I can bring that personality into showing that you can be successful as an introvert and you don't have to change anything.
I love that. And most of the time, the good leaders, they give space.
Yes.
And an extrovert where it's always about me, and my point of view and what I think and look at my brilliance, there's no space for others. Like there's always competition. So I feel that with a lot of introverted clients that I have, but also colleagues that I've had, it's always been about collaboration. It's always been about how can we use the strengths in the room. It's more of a collaborative approach, I feel.
Exactly. And I've been a team leader in my professional background as well. I always lead with empathy, right? And that's what always was appreciated by my team members, by my direct reports, that they can always come to me to talk to anything. I was always creating that safe space.
Because you know how important it is, because you need it yourself.
Exactly. And if there was bad feedback from someone else, I would always listen to both stories. I wouldn't jump into conclusions or assumptions before I would talk to both sides. And I think that was always kind of putting me in a good light with the team, and they always wanted to work with me and they knew that they could trust me as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely trust building. I think there's also this element of being seen. Just being seen is so, so important. Ooh, I'm loving this. Any last words you have? Well, not last words as in last words in this piece of content that we're creating right here.
Exactly. No, I think I just want to remind everyone, you don't have to change your personality to live the life you want to live and to live it happily, whether it's at work, whether it's social collaboration. you really can use your strengths as an introvert to take away that stress. And it's funny because I only started to be happy about being introvert when I actually put that label on display, right? You know, if I started to say I am an introvert, don't force me to go to these events, and or understand why I'm not going, etc. And once I started to talk about it loudly, the weight just came off from me, and I was totally different person. I wasn't stressed anymore. People were basically more curious about my personality rather than just saying like, oh, she's a weird person, right? So
Look at her. She's not talking. What's wrong with her?
exactly. So I feel like just accept yourself, accept that you are an introvert and you don't have to change that. And that will help you massively with your life in any situation.
And in any location, right? That's the other thing.
Definitely.
I feel like being an expat is hard because you are starting from zero.
Yes.
You're starting from scratch for a lot of things, not just building your circle of friends, but also understanding cultural nuance and all of
Yes.
that. And to then, on top of that, want to change your personality, that is an added stress that no one needs.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Where can people find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. It's the platform for professional business people, but I also have my website, which is called Unicorn Coaching.
We'll
Yes,
put the link in
exactly.
the description box. Okay.
So feel free to reach out, and I am hoping to have my own YouTube channel soon.
That
Not
would be amazing. The world needs more of your brilliance, so I can't wait to see it.
I'm looking forward to it. And if someone wants to just have a free chat, I'm not going to charge anything for discovery chats with anyone. So please reach out. And I'm always happy to have that conversation.
Sounds good. Amazing. Well, Bianka, thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into an introvert's mind and how it relates to connecting with people, how it relates to managing your energy levels, how it relates to being in a new place and navigating this whole new environment that comes with being an expat. Thank you
No,
so
thank
much.
you for having me as well. It was great.
All right. Well, we'll see where this leads. Maybe we'll have a second episode on this because I think we haven't finished quite yet.
No, thank you so much.